Hello and welcome to Sleep Stories for Kids. Tonight's story is Grandma's Giant Swing. Today was an especially exciting day. Kira Joy was going to Grandma's house. Going to Grandma and Grandpa's house was one of her most favorite things to do. Grandma could play for hours. Plus, she usually had some kind of surprise for Kira when she came over. Kira never knew exactly what the surprise would be, as Grandma was always going treasure hunting to thrift stores here and there and everywhere and finding unusual and exciting surprises. Kira was just so excited to go to Grandma's, but she still had to run a couple of errands with her mom and do just a few more things at home before she could actually go out to Grandma and Grandpa's house and see what surprise they had for her today. At last, it was time, and they were turning on to the bumpy road that led to the little cabin out in the desert, Kira's grandma and grandpa, and their wonderful little home. When she got there, she wanted to just jump out of the car and run through the gate and into the house like she always did. And as soon as she did that, Grandma was right there at the front door to give her a big giant hug. Kira said, "Did you get me a surprise, Grandma?" And Grandma said, "As a matter of fact, I did." Now this surprise didn't come from a thrift store or a garage sale, but it is wonderfully special. And Grandpa worked hard for this surprise. Kira said, "Oh, I want to see, show me. Grandma said, "Let's go back through the gate and out into the backyard, and I'll show you the surprise." So they went out the back door and through the back gate, and on the little trail in the backyard past the giant mesquite tree, and they kept walking out into the desert. Kira thought, "I wonder what kind of surprise is out here, all the way out in the middle of the desert." And soon she saw these giant poles sticking out of the ground. What was that, she thought? And as they got closer, she saw it was a giant swing out in the middle of the desert behind Grandma and Grandpa's house. Now this wasn't like the swing at her house that was just a little bit taller than her. I mean, she could climb up that and grab onto the top and jump down. This was a swing like she had never seen before. It was as tall as the telephone poles outside of the house at the end of the block, maybe even taller. And these big ropes attached a giant swing that could easily hold Grandma and Grandpa and Kira all at the same time. She wanted to get right on, but she was actually a little scared because it was such a giant swing. It was amazing. She could see the sun starting to set in the distance, and it made the swing glow with the light. Grandma said, "Let's go. We can swing together and Grandpa can give us a push." So they got a blanket and cozied up into this giant swing next to each other, held on tight, and Grandpa gave them a big push. Up, up, up they went, all the way up to the sky and back, back, and up they went, up to the sky. And then the wind following them back, this giant swing, swinging in the middle of the desert behind Grandma and Grandpa's house, as the sun set over behind the mountain. This was a magic swing. Kira had really never felt anything like the butterflies in her tummy as the swing went up toward the first star she could see tonight, and then all the way back. Kira and Grandma could feel the wind on their face, the gentle breeze through their hair as the swing went back and forth and back and forth as the cool desert night air gently brushed against their skin as they snuggled together on this giant swing. Kira was actually feeling herself being lulled to sleep in this giant swing as she was cozied up next to Grandma in this beautiful, cool desert air, as this swing went back and forth and back and forth, and they both thought they were going to just fall asleep as the swing moved back and forth through the beautiful night sky. And they began to see more and more stars coming out. And as much as they wanted to stay on this swing, they knew they needed to get in. It was almost time for dinner, and then they would all have to go to bed. So the giant swing came to a gentle, slow, swinging stop, and they got off and went inside. Kira could hardly wait for morning to come so she could go and swing again on her giant swing that Grandma and Grandpa made just for her. After dinner and after a bath, when they were lying in bed reading bedtime stories, Grandma said, "Hey Kira, I have an idea." And Kira said, "Yeah, Grandma?" And Grandma said, "Let's go out and swing on the giant swing under the stars." Kira said, "Let's do it." And so they put their slippers on and slowly opened the back door and went outside, followed the trail out into the desert behind their yard to the giant swing set. When they got snuggled up together, they both used their feet to get the swing started. And it started swinging slowly, slowly at first, and then the gentle wind, started to blow, and the swing swang higher and higher and higher into the dark, sparkling night sky. Grandma and Kira both, they really didn't know what they were feeling. It was a mixture of excitement and a little bit of nervousness at how fun and free they felt being out on the giant swing in the middle of the night, swinging higher and higher and higher, back and forth, back and forth, looking at the sparkling stars and feeling the wind in their hair as they were snuggled up on the magic swing in the night sky. They heard a sound and saw an owl fly by right in front of them. The owl turned and watched Kira and Grandma as the swing was going higher and higher. It didn't even seem like they were attached to the poles at all. They were moving with the wind, all snuggled up close together as they started following the owl who was flying through the night sky. Luckily, Grandma and Kira both loved a great adventure, and they weren't scared as the swing flew through the night sky following the owl. And soon other night birds joined in. There were several birds flying along with them and the giant swing. Grandma and Kira were flying on their swing for a long time, looking down below at all the little houses with the little lights far down below. This swing, the giant swing that was taking them on an adventure. The birds began to speak to each other, each with their different whistle, their different sound. The birds began to chitter-chatter amongst each other, speaking a language only they knew, as the magic swing followed right along. This was such an amazing feeling, swinging and flying through the night sky with Grandma, snuggled together on an adventure, flying with the birds through the night before bedtime. All the swinging, the slowly rocking back and forth and back and forth, flying through the night had Grandma and Kira both very sleepy, and the swing was so comfortable, and they were both so warm, snuggled up in their blanket with the cool, gentle desert breeze flowing through their hair. The swing just lulled them to sleep, back and forth, back and forth. And they didn't even know where they were ending up, with all the birds flying along with Grandma's swing. But they kept on swinging back and forth and back and forth, as they were now flying over the ocean. Now they must have traveled a great distance to make it with the birds across the desert all the way to the ocean. And the moon was sparkling on the surface of the water, shimmering a beautiful white light, showing off the feathers of the beautiful birds that were flying along with them over the beautiful ocean. I don't think Grandma or Kira ever had a swing like this. A swing that could take them anywhere they might want to go. Now flying over the shimmering ocean made them even more and more tired. And they both just leaned back and laid down a little bit on the seat, just to rest their head for a little while as they were flying and swinging through the night sky. Now the birds, chittering and chattering amongst themselves, started to slow down. They were slowing and moving downward, gently down, down, over the sparkling ocean, until they came to a gentle stop on a small piece of land, sitting all by itself in the middle of the sparkling sea. Now the giant swing gently settled itself in a tree on this little island in the middle of the sparkling sea. The birds landed, got a drink of water, gently rested on the branches. Now the birds rested their legs and their wings as they sat in various branches of the trees on the tiny island. and Grandma and Kira were just so relaxed and so cozy in the soft blanket that they brought. They just didn't even care where they were. It was relaxing and peaceful, and they both felt so warm and cozy and happy to be together that they just decided right then and there that they were going to go to sleep. They were both ready for sleep. Their eyes were closed, and they just felt so heavy and relaxed and ready for sleep. Night, night.